Good afternoon, YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Christina, and this is Living Your Best Life with Disabilities. I'm so happy that you're here to join me. First, I need to let you know that I took a very bad fall last Sunday, unfortunately, and I broke my elbow. I just got my cast off today. The doctor wants me to move it around, and that is extremely painful. So I'm not looking forward to that. I've got a lot of bumps and bruises and cuts, and then the broken elbow. So not fun. My tremor got out of control while I was walking, and before I could get my footing, I went down. And so you all know what that's like for those of you who have walking issues, who maybe aren't as stable as you'd like to be. It's very easy to fall, and then when you fall, unfortunately, a lot of times things break, and so that's what happened to me. Moving on to today's topic, I would like to talk about being bedridden or homebound for a long period of time. I'm going to talk about my own experience, and then we'll see if we can bring it back full circle to talk about how we can live our best life while we are bedridden or homebound. Because this is extremely hard stuff to work through when you are bedridden or homebound. So a few years ago, I was bedridden for about a year. I had bile leaking into my stomach from my gallbladder. I was vomiting on a daily basis. I was struggling immensely with my health, my fibromyalgia, as well as my tremor disorder, and all of my disorders were completely out of control due to being bedridden. I lost over 60 pounds. I was extremely weak. I was very frail. And after about a month of being bedridden, I experienced severe depression. My major depressive disorder flared up and it went crazy. I was struggling with suicidal ideation. I was struggling with severe depressive episodes. I was struggling with anxiety. It was a really tough time in my life. About 7 years ago, I was in the house for a year. I couldn't leave the house. So I was able to get out of the bed, but I could not leave the house for a year. And again, my depressive episodes during that time were out of control. My muscle tone went down. My overall health went down. And it was just a really hard time for me, unable to leave the house or unable to leave the bed. I had to do my doctor's appointments virtually. It was an extremely difficult time. Now, I know that some of you know what this is like, and you understand what it's like to have a flare-up that lasts, a month, 6 months, a year, whatever it may be. This takes a huge toll on you. This takes a toll on your overall health. It takes a toll on your mental health. It takes a toll on every part of your existence. And unless you go through something like that, it's really hard for others to understand and comprehend what it is you're going through during this time when you're so sick and you can't leave the house and you can't get out of bed. People don't understand when they get up every day and take a shower and get out of the house, and they get to go to work and they get to go to school and they get to do all the things that they want to do. For those of us who struggle with these different disabilities and different illnesses, a long flare-up comes sometimes every few years, sometimes even more frequently than that. And it can be quite challenging. It can be really challenging on your entire system, okay? So how are we going to live our best life when we're in that situation? So remember, when you are bedbound, your best friend is that phone. You can FaceTime with friends. You can FaceTime with family, okay? That helps with the isolation, all right? You can do crossword puzzles. You can knit, you can crochet. Anything that you can to keep your mind active and at least keep some sense of normalcy during this struggling time. Now, if you're like me, I was so sick this a few years ago when I was bedbound. I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't FaceTime with friends or family. I couldn't do any crossword puzzles or Sudoku or crochet or knit or do anything like that because I was just too ill. And sometimes we might have to go through that. And if you're in a situation like that, I just want to remind you to not give up the hope, because it's not forever, right? I mean, eventually we're going to go back to our normal, and our normal may be different than, the person our age next to us, but it could be our normal. All right. So keep in mind that this is not forever. The next thing you want to keep in mind is, if you are well enough to do anything, please engage in as much activity as you possibly can. Activity is your best friend, okay? So like I said, use that FaceTime. If you can't use FaceTime, use the phone if you can. Reach out to a family member. Reach out to a friend. Engage so you don't feel so isolated. Okay? If you can engage in any kind of activities like knitting or sewing or anything you can do from your bed, crossword puzzles, Sudoku, whatever it may be, please engage in those activities. Keeping your mind busy is vital during a bad flare-up, okay? What we don't want is we don't want to slip into the depths of depression if possible. And I've learned this from experience, and I've learned it the hard way. So each day, if you're homebound, remember, we're going to get up, we're going to get dressed, we're going to dress for the day. Even though we're not going anywhere, we're going to get dressed for the day. We're going to engage in activities that we enjoy. We're going to take care of our home the best that we can. We're going to take care of ourselves the best that we can. Okay? And by doing this, this is really how we get through these difficult times. Keep in mind, a busy mind is a happy mind when it comes to a flare-up. Now, I am a huge advocate for mindfulness, and I'm a huge advocate for meditation and being still with your thoughts. But when you're in a flare-up, I would actually encourage you to mix in a busy mind, because a busy mind keeps your mind off of your pain, off of your struggles. And during a bad flare-up, you want to keep your mind off of those things. If you can be mindful and sit with yourself and meditate for a little while, that would be great too. But if it's too overwhelming, if the pain is too overwhelming, if the illness is too overwhelming, then really try to focus on keeping your mind busy so that you feel productive, so that your mind is focused on anything other than your pain, other than your illness, okay? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Please join me next week, and thank you for coming.